That's smart though. That's smart to do. We didn't do an engagement party with friends. That's a regret. I wish we did. That's a smart test for like, okay, like who's going to actually make an effort? Who's going to be there for me? Who's going to have good energy about this? That's a really smart test to do before getting into the wedding.
Loverly presents The Wedding Podcast, a show for those on the road to I do. From relationship advice to wedding planning tips, we break it down. I'm your host, Kelly Khalil, bride-to-be and the founder of Loverly, a DIY wedding planning platform. Over the years, we've helped tens of thousands of couples get down the aisle. And now that it's my turn, I'm not holding back. I'm bringing in my besties, wedding pros, and some brides-to-be you may know to talk through everything from picking the perfect venue to mastering your relationship. It's time to plan smarter so you can focus on the happily ever after. You've got the ring, we've got the rest. Hello, lovely friends. This week we sat down with Nicole Pellegrino, content creator and director of TikTok and content strategy at Betches Media. As a self-proclaimed wedding expert, Nicole hosted and produced the Betches Brides podcast for over 2 years while managing and growing the @Betches Brides Instagram account to over 300,000 followers. Hear how she handled her own wedding being postponed by COVID, how she met her husband, which details should change when your wedding gets postponed, and what she would have done differently about her wedding. This is a really fun conversation. Nicole is an absolute blast. Let's get into it. Nicole, excited to have you, the OG bridal betch, on the Loverly podcast. Thanks for joining us.
So excited to be here. I'm really dusting off my podcast microphone, my headphones. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we love to see it. We're bringing you out of retirement for this conversation.
Literally.
I would love for you to just give us the background because you know, you were a COVID bride, you postponed, you planned your wedding, and very publicly. A lot of people followed along in the process. So give us kind of your background. How did you land at Betches, and what was your story before? Give us the download.
Oh, where do I even start? Okay, so basically I had worked in social media throughout like my whole career. A bunch of fun other companies. I was at Nickelodeon for a moment. You don't need my whole resume. But I started at Betches in 2019. When it was kind of smaller, it's grown to be this amazing company ever since. It was always an amazing company, but started there, and that's kind of when we launched Betches Brides. And really just as a space to like be this real, unfiltered, raw, honest voice in the bridal space, in the wedding world. With some snark, some satirical moments, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I launched Betches Brides with the team. My background was in social media. I think I was a marketing manager at the time. I swear I've worked every job there is to work at Betches. It's like a digital boot camp, I tell people. Because you just learn so much because it's like still a scrappy team even as we do grow. But yeah, so I started running Betches Brides, the Instagram account, and really just this is when I was engaged because so Mike and I got engaged. Oh my God, it feels like forever ago, literally. Mike and I got engaged before I had started at Betches. So when we launched Betches Brides, my boss at the time was like, hey, you're engaged, like you love creating content, why don't you help find some stuff for the account, whatever. Started like dipping my toes into it. Months and months go by, I start like fully kind of running it, and then it kind of just was a seamless experience. Like you said, I like started just like jumping on the account and showing my face and stuff and venting to the community, just like being real about how fun yet annoying wedding planning can be and how stressful. And then we had an amazing host of the podcast at the time. She's hilarious, Taylor Strecker. She had like a very interesting wedding story, went through a divorce, all that stuff. I would kind of go on the podcast with her sometimes, started helping produce episodes. Eventually, she ended up leaving. She's like, super busy. And then, so basically, fast forward, this is during 2020 now. Pandemic hits. My wedding, like you said, COVID bride, my wedding goes to, all my plans go to shit. Am I allowed to curse here? I think you
You
guys are
can,
like
yes.
classy ladies,
No, you
so
can.
I'll
No,
keep
we're
the
classy,
cursing.
but you can let her rip.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so all my wedding plans go to shit. At this time, Jordana Abraham, one of the founders of Betches, was like, she was planning her wedding in Mexico. She was like, I'll host the podcast. And then she was like, Nicole, you want to co-host with me? And that's really where, like, those were my favorite days of hosting Betches Brides because it was just really fun. We were both planning our weddings. We were like learning along the way together. And I really think what drew people to that show and the Instagram account was just like the fact that we were coming at the audience from a bride's perspective. We made it clear we were not wedding experts. Like by now I've kind of self-proclaimed myself as like a wedding expert, but I'm by no means not. We were not wedding vendors, not wedding professionals. We were just like learning along the way and both planning our weddings during COVID, which I think people really could relate to because it was just a shit show. So, so we did that. And then, so I hosted the podcast and ran that account for, I think, over 2 years it was, which was
During
just
your
a great
entire planning process, right?
Yes,
Like from like
yes.
when you first started at Betches all the way through to your wedding happening.
To the wedding.
Yeah, we need to like dive in and like rewind a little bit about you and Mike because you said you were engaged by the time you started at Betches, but like we need the backstory. How'd you meet him?
Yes.
How did you get the ring? How involved were you? Were you surprised? Like give us the whole breakdown.
I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I can be quite long-winded, so just shut me up if needed. But basically, okay, so Mike and I met in college. We've literally known each other forever at this point, over 10 years. So that's a whole thing. Like, always try keeping it spicy when you've been in such a long relationship. But yeah, so we met in college. It's
Where'd you
funny
go to
because
school?
we went to James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the middle of nowhere, mountains of
I was
Virginia.
gonna say random.
Yeah, very random. Everybody's like, what? But it was really fun. We were both in Greek life, as like lame as that is and cringy, but whatever. Everybody in Greek
What
life
house?
kind of like Sigma Kappa, and he was in ATO.
Got it.
So yeah, fun times. But yeah, so we kind of like knew of each other, and then I think it was because we were drunk the entire college experience, but we both cannot remember exactly where we met. I swear that we met in one of the dining halls. Long story short with that, I was sitting with two of my good friends, Tommy and Brooke. It was finals week or midterms week, I forget. I just know that I pulled an all-nighter. I was wearing sweatpants. I looked like absolute 0 out of 10. I was eating a chicken pesto wrap. There was pesto in my teeth. And I remember looking up, seeing Mike fresh out of the gym, had this like muscle tee on. I don't know why I was attracted to that at the time. And I remember being like, ooh, that's Mike Freeze. And my friend Tommy was like, yeah, let me call him over. I threatened Tommy's life. I was like, don't you fucking dare. Sure enough, he does. And Mike comes and sits down with us, has lunch with us. I didn't say a word. I was too nervous. And then he asked Tommy for my number after the lunch.
Well, clearly you made an impression. Pesto and
I don't
teeth
know
and all.
how. I don't know how, but I think that's how, like, he's a keeper if he likes you at your rawest form. But then Mike swears that the first time we met was at this, like, it was around the same time, I know that, but he swears that we met for the first time at this philanthropy event that his fraternity was putting on. Long story with that, there was a big musical chairs game with 200 sorority girls in it. I was one of them, and I remember being like, I need to catch Mike Freeze's attention. So you
knew who he was?
Yes, we all knew of each other, but didn't know each other officially.
Got it.
But
so you had like a distance crush situation?
Yes, sort of.
You were low-key stalking? Like, what's happening?
Stalking, literally. I don't even know if Instagram was a thing back in those days. That's how old we are. But yeah, so I ended up winning the musical chairs game, like literally hitting the other girls out of the way with my butt to win. And I caught his eye, but so he thinks that's when we first met. So we actually literally don't remember, and it's really sad. But one of those 2 times.
But you have two distinct memories, but you don't know which one was first. Is that what it is?
Exactly. But my one,
you remember literally what you were wearing and what he was wearing, but you just don't. The timelines don't line up.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. But we ended up meeting and somehow started dating about a year after all of that. So yeah.
And then, you asked about been together since. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So then, yeah, we had been together since. We both moved to the DC area after college because that's what all our friends were doing. Worked there for like a year and a half, and then at that point, we both were like, we weren't living together. We were living with friends, but we were like, we want to pursue careers in New York. Both of our careers were just like driving us to New York. So that's when we were like, let's move up to New York. Truth be told, we weren't even really ready to move in together yet, but like logistically wise, it kind of made sense. Like we're like, fuck it, I guess we'll just move in together.
New York does that to you. It does that to you.
Exactly. So we move up, we start
forces
working
it
our
because
jobs.
It's like makes more financial sense.
Yes, exactly. I was like, we can't afford to not live together, so let's just do it. So yeah, we both start working up here, and then a couple years later, we took our sweet time, that's for sure. I was in no rush. He was in no rush to get engaged, which I like that because then it kind of takes the pressure off. And then 2019 is when I remember knowing we were going to get engaged that year, but thinking it was going to be like fall or winter, and he ended up doing it May 11th. And yeah, so that was that.
you thought it was coming, but like did you like send him photos of rings? Did he know what you wanted? Like how involved with that situation were you? Because you don't seem like a subtle person. Like I don't see you just like I see you dropping
ding. Yeah. No. So I literally took him ring shopping. We were down in North Carolina visiting his parents because they lived down there at the time. And they had like a diamond person down there or whatever. So we went to them, and I was like, we're going to try on rings. And he liked that better too, because he can be indecisive about things when it comes to me, because he knows I can be a control freak. So he preferred that. And I tell brides and couples all the time, I'm like, why the frick wouldn't you need to be decisive about the ring. That's the most expensive thing you're going to buy in a while. So you're going to have that thing on your finger forever. Yeah, like in a while. that shows something. But yeah, so you're going to have it on your finger forever. Why would you not just show what you wanted? So I was nice about it though. I showed 3 options. I said I'd be happy with either of these. You pick your favorite. And so that's what he did.
That's not very control freak like. I feel like that was,
I know.
You gave him options. Like I, on the other hand, I called Nicole, ring concierge, who's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
And I'm like, hi, I need a ring. And I was very clear with my fiance, like, it's time, like we need to get it together. And so I'm showing you my ring so you can see it.
It's gorgeous. I saw it in person at your guys' event. Oh my God.
It's really dirty.
It's so
but I literally went and like looked at the stones, picked the exact stone, told her I wanted it east-west, like designed the exact thing. And then when I walked out of there, and I was like, so what happens now? And she had an associate who was helping me kind of like with the details. And she was like, here's the deal. You're going to give me his phone number, and then we're never going to talk about this again. Do not text me. Do not call me about it. Like, that's it. Like,
I love that.
This is all you have. And that was in January. COVID hits February, March, right? And we were supposed to be in south of France in June with our friends. We rented an Airbnb villa. We were so excited. I was like, oh, it's for sure happening there. It's going to be amazing. And then obviously COVID shut down. I mean, I probably gained like 10 pounds because we were eating, we were like bored and like drinking at like 5 p.m. and like eating full gourmet lunches at home because we were go to the grocery store. That was it. And I was like, I was starting to get like, it's late. Has not happened yet. And then finally he proposed in July. But unlike you, I did not plan a thing for the wedding. I still do not have a date. We're talking almost 3 years. So I'm really taking my time. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
You haven't planned? Aren't you doing destination?
I am going to do a destination. I don't have a location, and I don't have a time frame, because I just did a huge engagement party, which everyone who saw it on social was like, "Oh, that was like a wedding.
That's the wedding.
3 outfit changes, the whole thing." Yeah. And then people were like, "If this is the engagement party, what's the wedding going to be like?" I have like friends texting me like, "I need to know approximately the time frame, because I'm setting up a savings account to start like contributing now."
Legit.
Like, all the events. Yeah.
And at least you know your audience. You're like, yes, it's going to be that type of wedding. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's just, we're taking our time, and I mean, you've been
that's the way to do it.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better than like rushing and planning something that you're going to regret later and you don't want. Like, I think you're doing the right thing. Your wedding, I cannot wait. Your wedding is going to be like my version of the royal wedding. I'm going to be stalking waiting, because it's just going to be, the more time you take, the more epic it's going to be. So
I know. I actually need to start planning though. That's like the thing. But
it's
let's
so
stop
hard.
About me and go back to you. So
I want to talk about yours.
Proposes in May.
Yes. So he proposes at a beautiful winery in Virginia. Long story. He might as well be an Oscar-winning actor at this point, because he fooled me, truly. Him, my sister, my brother-in-law were all in on it. The workers at this winery were in on it. They basically like faked this tour of the winery and then left me and Mike alone downstairs in the cellars at one point. My sister was like pretending she got sick. I'm gullible as anything, so I had no idea. And then he pops the question, and then my whole family was like, and his was all waiting in like a different room. We just like spent the day with family, and it was just amazing. So,
oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And when you got the ring, well, you could flash it to me. We'll have to get a photo. But,
yes.
Oh, gorge.
It's dirty too at all times, but
very
simple. That's he. Of course, he's a man who picks the simple option. It's literally
classic,
4 prongs.
Stunning though.
Thank you. I knew I would never get sick of it.
Yeah.
That's why it was
for sure.
timeless.
Well, I did just talk to someone recently who I think, Stephanie Gottlieb. She was saying that like the new thing is like to reset your ring like every 3-4 years with the styles, and I'm like, I don't hate that idea, but I kind of want to keep the original. Like, I wish the diamonds could just pop into the different ones, because I wouldn't mind a really chunky bezel situation for right now, because I feel like bezel's having a moment,
Yes. That's interesting. Resetting every 3 years. I mean, that's kind of fun. I would do it.
Yeah, but then you kind of miss the original, so you got to keep
keep it or get it reset to the original. Yeah. I would. Yeah. They should invent that. That should be Loverly's next thing. Just like pop a diamond.
That sounds like it's high risk. I feel like you would lose your ring, or at least I would.
My diamond like got loose at one point, and we had to get it tight. It was terrifying. I could like feel it wiggling, and I was like, "Oh hell no!"
But knowing you're my working luck, out with your ring, aren't you?
No, I was. I think I was. That's why. And it's like 4 little prongs holding that thing in place. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely like at risk. I kind of want to get a little. Yes, they look very bridal right now. Actually, it's the UV gel. That's my biggest wedding tip for people. Get the UV gel, because it's amazing. It stays on forever.
But people always, I feel like once you're engaged, they always want to see your. So I literally feel like I've had a perfect manicure since I've gotten engaged, because I feel like the attention's on my hand, but like.
Yeah.
I kind of was like that a little bit before. I was always into nails. Nails is like part of my self-expression, my creative expression. But I had my nails done, which was really important, and he knew that. But like, did you have yours done?
For the engagement? No, mine were literally. I did, but they were like orange. Like I had them done, but like if I had known it was going to be my engagement, obviously I would have done like a more muted color.
So you really didn't know.
No, truly. Because my sister also, this is a tip, have a family member have a big life event. My sister told us that she was pregnant with her first kid the night before the engagement, and she had asked Mike if she could do that and everything, but that really like threw me off. Like, I thought we were celebrating that. So yeah, really had no idea.
So cute. So that was in May 2019, and then we obviously had no idea the world was shutting down like 6 months later, 8 months later. So like, how far like in your planning did you get? Did you just like dive in and you were like,
we had Yeah, so I remember we took a couple months. I was procrastinating because it is hard to, like, I feel your pain because it's hard to get started. And then once you do, it's like, okay, here we go. We took a couple months, enjoyed the engagement, whatever. Finally, like at the beginning of late 2021, beginning of 2020, we're like, let's start planning because that is also something. Like once you do kind of set a date, you need to plan right away because things get booked, man. Like even hair and makeup, glam, they get booked out and so far in advance. And so we started.
I'm like, who are these planners? Like, who are these people who legitimately know what everything they want and are able to do it right away? Like,
2 years.
I have a lot of vendors I know, I know I would call on, but like, the feeling of being behind is real. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my gosh,
brides are savage. They will book them up. So yeah, we started in 2021. That's a lie. We didn't wait till 2020. I'm thinking now. And so we started then, booked the big stuff, like booked our venue. Even then though, it was late because now that I'm thinking about it, our venue goes, we decided we want this venue. It was the perfect location in downtown Annapolis, Maryland for us. And they were like, okay, we have like 2 dates left. I'm like, what? We're over a year out. They're like, yeah, we have Halloween, or I forget what the other date in the fall of 2020 was. But we were like, fuck it, we'll do Halloween. And then, so we like fully chose Halloween. We were like embracing it. And we were like, honestly, I was like, I love Halloween. He loves Halloween. We were like, let's do it. We weren't going to do like a Halloween themed wedding though. But we were just going to do like, theme. No, like no. Oh my God. Imagine. No, maybe an after party of that theme we were thinking. That's but cool. So we're like, yay, Halloween, let's do it. So we book all of our big people, for the most part, all the big vendors, like photographer, florist, band,
and were they local? Vendors. Like how were you selecting them? Through friends or planner?
Through friends. I'm from Maryland, so a lot of friends, word of mouth. My sister got married in Annapolis, so a lot of like hers or people that knew hers, whatever. So yeah, we're just doing it that way. But it was tough because it was kind of a destination for us. Like we had to travel down to Maryland every time. But yeah, so we booked them. Then the pandemic hits. We're like, oh shit, okay, we've got it. Finally, we make the decision. Like I think April 2021. We're like, let's move this thing. And sorry, Mike just came in the room. He wants to talk about it.
Mike?
No. He can't hear. But so we're like, let's move the wedding. And I remember our vendors, bless their hearts, because they were all very good about it. Like they were like, all right, we'll roll with it. We'll just pick up and move. And we didn't have to like pay extra money. Like I knew a lot of couples that were like, oh, we're having to pay these like changeover fees and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Our vendors, I think part of that probably had to do because at this time I was running Betches Brides.
Very early though. But also it was early in the pandemic. Like I feel like people didn't know if you moved in April. Yeah, people waited till the very last minute. And let me ask you, did you end up just moving the date and everything stayed the same, like your design and everything, or did you like plan a new wedding?
The vision definitely changed because we were like, not Halloween anymore. We weren't doing like little gothic Halloween touches here and there. Yeah. So vision of like the decor definitely changed a little, but like
you were far enough out though. Yeah, it's not like you had like ordered stuff and like
all the nitty gritty. Yeah, exactly. So the vision, which wasn't even like executed yet, changed. So that was fine because like you said, no details and whatnot. But yeah, so we ended up moving to the hardest part. We ended up moving to Labor Day weekend, which again was one of the only ones free. That the hardest part about
almost
that was
a year later.
Yes, 2021, like a full year later. And it was just so hard coordinating with everybody. Like, I was like, I want to keep all of our same vendors, but a lot of them weren't free on the same days. So I remember it was either, our choices were September 4th, 2021, or September 11th. And I was like, we're not doing September 11th. Yeah. And so we did September 4th. And,
so you had to like reshuffle some of your vendors?
Yes. No, we got to keep all of them actually. Okay. That's like why we chose that date. But but they were all pretty cool about it. Like nobody like made us pay extra. We got to just like transfer over our deposits.
Same venue?
Yes, same venue. Nice. But I remember even as we were getting close to the actual wedding date, September 4th, it was still getting, like, September 4th, 2021, it was still scary because, like, the pandemic was still happening. Like, at one point, our venue coordinator was like, you might have to put some tables in the hallway because of the capacity limits. And we were like, we're not putting guests in the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was crazy times. But
I had a friend who... Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I had a friend who ended up getting married in May and in the Hamptons, and they still had the restrictions on how many people could be. And so, I mean, her and I were new friends, but like we'd become pretty close during the pandemic. She was one of those like, you know, people that I was really in touch with. And so we unfortunately did not make the cut of when she talks about, she's like, I feel so bad about it. And I'm like, honestly, not a big deal. But she only could have like, I think 60 people, which is super small if you have a big family.
Yeah.
60 is hard.
Oh, that takes up that's a family. That's your family only. And like maybe a best friend. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. At one point during all of this, Mike and I looked at each other and we were like, do we just say fuck it and do a 60-person wedding and just like do like completely change our wedding around our guest list? Thank you. He just brought me an iced latte. It was like making me want. Bless him. But at one point we were like, do we just do that? But at that point it was too far. Like our vendors, they wouldn't have given back the deposits that we had already given. So we were just like, let's pick the wedding up and move it. But
how many people did you have?
We were at like 160 people total, which felt good. But looking back, like one of my biggest tips is just like, don't be afraid to not invite people. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, do we really talk to every single person? Like, did they really need to come? That kind of thing. Like, we're thankful that all of our guests, don't get me wrong, I love all our guests. I'm very thankful that they came to celebrate us, but just keep that in mind when you're making the guest list. Like, maybe not everyone has to attend your wedding.
Well, it's really interesting because that was when we first got engaged. October 20, no, right away, within like a month, my sister was like, let's do a micro wedding. Let's get this done. Like, she had the planner, like this girl, Gianna Sanfilippo, who's amazing. She's done all of our family weddings. She does like big time weddings too. Love Gianna, but she called Gianna on a 3-way FaceTime and was like, let's get the list going. We're going to do a micro wedding. We're going to get it done. We're going to do it in October. It's going to be small. And my sister was really about, I don't know why, she wanted to get the wedding done. I'm like, I was like,
here we go.
Yeah. So we made a list. And what's interesting is we still have that list. That list that we made October 2020. And then we revisited it when we were doing our engagement party October 2022.
And your engagement party list is more?
Well, a lot of it was my dad. My dad used it as a way to invite a lot of his friends. It was in LA. Gotcha. He was hosting it. So like there was a lot of like, you know, people that, you know, weren't necessarily as close as us, but bottom line, the friend situation, some of the people on the list, there was like 20 people that we were like in 2 years, we're not even that close with. Cause you know, with the pandemic, you really realize like who your people were. Yeah. In those 2 years since the pandemic started, friends change, and the people that made the effort, it was like pretty interesting. And I was surprised to see who stuck, and then also new people emerged who have become super important in my life. And then what was interesting is when I actually had my engagement party and I sent out my invitations, and you know, we planned that pretty quickly. We started August 2022. The event was in October. Most of my friends are scattered between New York and LA, and I think we invited 120 people, and like let's say like 95, 100 showed up.
That is a wedding.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was big. It was a full situation. I'll have to send you
I want to see.
IG.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was like the people who made the trip. Like one of my best friends from college flew in from London for this event just because she's like, I'm not missing this, right? And then I had friends who I'd known, you know, longer, who were in LA and like, oh, I have a conflict. And I was like, it kind of
people
shows
show their
true
true colors when you start planning a wedding. Oh, for sure. And
then they're like, "Oh, am I invited to the wedding?" And I'm like, well, you didn't make the original cut. You didn't show up to the engagement party, so we may need to adjust that.
That's smart, though. That's smart to do. We didn't do an engagement party with friends. That's a regret. I wish we did. That's a smart test for like, okay, like who's going to actually make an effort? Who's going to be there for me? Who's going to have good energy about this? That's a really smart test to do before getting into the wedding.
Good litmus test. I mean, especially because if we're doing a destination, it's going to be more intimate. And look, some people couldn't come for various reasons. We totally get that, right? Totally fine. But I'm like, if you're local and you like had like another small event, I'm like, we could have prioritized here. But I also don't think people knew the level of the event that we were throwing. I mean, like I said, I had 2 outfit changes, full catering, like it was
a wedding.
Full twinkle light setup. Yeah, it was a full cake, champagne tower. We did it all.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not like itching to have the actual wedding right away because I feel like I got. Yeah, it was fun.
In like, do you think if you have to invite everybody who you invited to the engagement party to the destination wedding? Or
I don't
think
so.
Keep the list smaller? Okay.
I think it can be smaller, and the thing is, like, a lot of people that we invited were like my dad's friends and people that are like extended family that like I don't see that often, but my dad wanted them to be part of that, and my dad still to this day calls it the wedding. So for him, it was the wedding, right? And he did the same thing for my brother and my sister. He threw them engagement parties at our family home, and it's more for Not saying they're for him, they're for us, but like, it's his chance to bring all his people together and all that stuff, which honestly it was great because my dad's friends were extremely generous and we really got some good gifts. So that's
amazing. That's the tip. Invite the rich friends of the parents.
Exactly. And then, so that was really, really nice. But so we're not going to invite all of, a lot of those people, but, and I think it's also hard because at this point, I'm a little bit older of a bride. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in August, which I can't believe that. But like people are at different stages. So a lot of my friends have young little kids or pregnant. And so that's something that I really need to consider is like I need to time it. So so I don't have a date set for this year because everyone I know is basically pregnant or having a baby. So there'll be like too many newborns. But I'm hoping when I choose my wedding time and location, it'll be enough time for my friends who are looking for that event to get excited about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where they can like leave baby at home or bring baby. It'll be like the first post baby vacation type situation. So and really it's because I have like basically 4 people in my immediate family who are pregnant or just having babies now, and I would want them there, for the wedding. So it's kind of hard. As you get older, it's like, that's a really
you got to work around so many things. Yeah, exactly.
So your wedding happens. Did you love it? Was there anything that you wanted to change?
Oh yes. Oh, I literally brought a list because this is like my favorite topic. It's the audience goes wild with the wedding regrets topic because if brides are listening out there and they're planning, just like learn from our mistakes. This is for you, Kelly. Okay. Yeah. My number 1 tip I wrote down, not doing a destination wedding. So you're already on the right track. Okay. So don't get me wrong. And when I say these regrets, I always caveat it with, I loved our wedding day. It was perfect in every which way. It was perfectly imperfect. Like things are going to go wrong. You're going to have regrets, but it's still the best day of your life, right? But not doing a destination wedding, ever since our wedding, I've been to destination weddings and they are so fun. It's just such a different vibe. My thing about our wedding day, my biggest takeaway was that it went by in the blink of an eye. Even the weekend, like we had the rehearsal dinner the night before, which was great. Like everybody was having fun the entire weekend downtown, great. But it just goes by so fast. Whereas a destination wedding, it's just so much more intimate. People actually get to know each other because the guest list is smaller. You're all together multiple nights. The welcome party, and not to top it all off, destination weddings, all weddings can get obviously so expensive. So like, depends what your budget is, but some destination weddings can cost less than ones in the States. Like, my best friend got married in Dominican Republic. She lives in Miami. She's like, if we were to do a bigger wedding in Miami, we would have paid much more. And her wedding was just the best weekend ever. So I would have done a destination wedding. That's one regret. This one is like
yours kind of destination-y? It was a little bit.
It was like for us, but I consider, when I say destination wedding, I consider like abroad. You know,
got
like
it.
An island or something.
So not domestic destination, but like,
yes,
you know.
Yes, exactly. So I would have done like Italy, honestly. And everybody's like, oh, but your guests, what if they can't come? Listen, that's okay. You've got to have that expectation when you do it. You've got to say, like, I know this is a huge expense. But like, if you can't come, I'm sorry. And just like, know your audience with that. Like, if you're getting married at 22 and you and all your friends don't have money yet because you just started working, like, then maybe don't do a destination wedding because nobody will be able to afford going. Like, I don't know. But if you, like, at this point in my life, I'm 30, all my friends are around my age, like, we could do a destination wedding. So, yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
This is one of my biggest ones, which a lot of my audience knows. I feel so stupid for not doing this, but we didn't plan an official after party. And it's a long story. So the way our venue was, everyone in our freaking venue, in the history of our venue who's gotten married there, goes downstairs to the bar, like right under the hotel, and just like brings the entire wedding down there and has a big like unofficial after party, but an after party. And our venue coordinator, like, literally would not let us actually plan an after party because she was like, everybody just does that. Don't waste any money, like, booking in a whole other venue and transportation. Like, you will go downstairs there, have a huge room, blah, blah, blah. Which, like, looking back, not to, like, drag anybody, but I'm a little annoyed at the venue, but whatever. Because we planned this wedding. It's Labor Day weekend, Annapolis, Maryland. Nobody could forecast how truly busy downtown Annapolis would be. There was a big Navy football game there, which the Naval Academy is there. Everybody was in that freaking city. And so the bar downstairs, like, it was just such a shit show. It was a buzzkill. Like, after the wedding, around like 11 midnight-ish, we all go down. We're trying to keep the party going. Some people got in, some couldn't. It was just a shit show. Thank God we end up all going to this massive, Mike's friends had booked a massive Airbnb walking distance from everything. So we all end up just going there and having like a big giant house party. And it ended up being so fun. We were out till 6 a.m. It was too fun, some would say. But it was very us too. Like, we're those type of people. But I mean, it was just, it was a real buzzkill at first. So, like, keep the party going, plan an after party, don't be dumb, and don't assume and expect things. Yeah. I mean, I have a whole list, like, doing a sweetheart table. Girl.
We're loving it.
Okay, we did a sweetheart table. I wish we did a head table where we sat with our friends and bridal parties.
Like,
because
you love Mike, but, like, did you just need to just be with him?
That's the thing. And Mike and I clung to each other the whole wedding. I was very adamant about that. I was like, I'm not gonna, because I've seen weddings where the couples like get lost from each other and don't see each other, and that sucks. So I was like, you're not leaving my side. But like, it would have been nice. Like, we didn't even get to like spend that much time with our friends because there were so many people and you're overwhelmed. So a head table would have been great. We didn't fully attend our cocktail hour. I wish we did. We were taking some photos, but at that point we had taken so many freaking photos. I was like, we're done. We could have, like, I
felt like that too at my engagement party. I'm like, and I know the whole thing is like they want to take photos, but like I was like, can we like go and party now? Can we go like see people? Like, I feel like that's a big regret that a lot of people say, is that I wish I would have done a first look so I could have been at the cocktail hour. Like, I hear that all the time.
Yeah. Oh, because you didn't do the first look. Oh, yeah. That's
Not
a big.
Us. I mean, we didn't really have a first look situation because, you know, it wasn't a wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what everyone says. Like, you know. But we were taking photos before. Early. Yeah. And I was like, people are coming. Like, let's go get a snack. Let's go, you know. We had really good food. that was there.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't eat that much. You're too excited.
And it's, yeah, exactly. That's also a regret. I wish we had our people pack up, like a vendor pack up a bunch of food for us so that we could eat it later in the night when we were like drunk and whatnot, because we didn't get to eat. You're too excited. Yeah. But I'm like, I want to go and have them like reenact our venue food just so we can like actually eat it. Yeah,
Taste
exactly.
It?
Yeah, a post-wedding tasting. That should be a thing.
There was so much food left over from my engagement party that like was packed up that like
Yum.
We had an after party at my dad's house, and then of course my stepmom like reheated like the, you know, we had like Middle Eastern food, so like the little like like I forget what they're called, but like it's like dough with like cheese in the inside, like all these things.
Yum.
And then she brought them out hot when everyone was like starving because they were drunk. It was like 1 a.m, and we like annihilated them, and it was the best thing ever. And then the next day I went ham on the cake.
Oh my god, that's amazing. The next day after our wedding, our cake melted in our car, so that's actually it was a shit show the day after. That's a big regret of mine. I was so mad. Like, nobody ate the actual cake. We had mini cupcakes that people went like bananas over. So yeah, our cake melted in our car. It was our rental car. Our car flooded the week of our wedding. It was a mess. It was literally a mess. But yeah, showing my dress to people before the wedding. Are you gonna do that when you eventually get a dress?
So yeah, the thing with showing people my dress. So my sisters, I have 2 sisters. We all have extremely different style. So that's the thing. I know my sister would always try to get me to be like more conservative, more classic, and I'm more of a glam girl, you know, like that's my vibe. So the thing with, you know, showing her and getting her opinion of it, I'm like, she'd probably talk me off the ledge of whatever I was, you know what I mean? Like, she'd want me, you know. So I don't love that outside influence, but I do have like 1 or 2 friends that when I was trying on dresses, I did bring a girlfriend of mine that I love and adore and trust, and had her come, and she, like, we have the same aesthetic, so she knows me, and she's like, yes, that's going to be, actually, she used to be the Loverly social media manager. We became really good friends.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
She knows my aesthetic, and she's like become like a little sister to me. So her name's Chantal, and I was like, Chantal, I need you to meet me at this location to like analyze the dress situation. So I think picking the right people. But like, you know, not having like, you know, my mom passed away, so she wouldn't come. Like, I wouldn't really have my stepmom. We have to deep dive on that at some point, maybe offline.
That's a whole element of wedding. Yeah, I mean, that's a big wedding planning without the mom. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Honestly, my sister, the reason why I started Loverly is my sister, we were planning her wedding, like 13 years ago, without my mom. And that was like, she was blocked by it to some extent, like very sad. It was really hard. And like with me, like, it's funny because I have my stepmom, but it's obviously a very different relationship, you know?
Totally.
And I didn't really feel like there was anyone, like, I feel like the mom is the one that gets the most excited. And like gets things going and like keeps you on track and lifts you up when you're like,
and like, not to mention, like, helps so much. Like, moms get, like, into the wedding. Oh, like, even the little stuff. Like, I remember being like, I wish I could assign my mom. And my mother-in-law was amazing, so helpful in every which way. But I also just, like, didn't want to inundate her with tasks. Like, I wanted her to enjoy the day. I remember, like, getting closer to the wedding and being like, I wish I could just, like, have my mom here, it's my wedding day, but B, like, assign her little thing, like, have her help. Like, the food the day of the wedding for the bridesmaids, for example. That's a perfect mom task. Like, mom, grab the bagels, grab the bridal suite food, and my, like, you know, and my sister, I was going to say, that I love that we both have sisters that we're close to, because that's just so helpful too. Like, they step up and almost become like a mom figure in this, especially my sister. She's older, so she was super helpful, but she had just given birth a month prior to her
My sister has 4 kids.
Oh my god, yeah,
I'm like, great. Like, I know you want to help, and she was helpful, like I said, but like,
you also feel guilty.
Yeah, you're like, you have 4 humans you're trying to keep alive. Like, do you
my
really
sister
care about
was
my floral
pumping
situation?
on the ground while getting her hair and makeup done at my wedding because her newborn, and I got to give it to her. Like, she found coverage for the newborn. Like, her mother-in-law was there helping out. But I mean, it was just still a mess.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it is kind of it's kind of hard, and I feel like my
definitely.
dad really wanted us to at least have like our engagement party, and he was kind of like the mother of the bride in this situation. He's like, we're gonna get the caterer. He really took lead on it, which was great.
What a cutie.
That's what like made it happen. Yeah, it was really. I actually had him on the podcast. We did an episode, and it's really funny because he's Lebanese, and his personality, he's very old school, and his biggest thing was like, the food needs to be amazing. We need to have the best food people have ever had, because like, when you think about going to weddings, the food's always like, like,
sure.
I think he used the analogy like you need to bring a hammer and a chisel to like cut the chicken. Usually, like it's always like,
He's right.
Like,
wedding food like sucks.
So the food situation was obviously really important to him, but that was the thing after the fact. That I was getting text messages from people like, I'm still dreaming about that hummus. That baklava was the best. Like, and it was Middle Eastern.
I'm dreaming about it. Yeah.
It was so good. But because it was catered and we had so much left over, we couldn't fit it in the fridge. But my dad has like a little wine cellar room. So it was like an air conditioned room. And basically there was so much extra food that we stacked it into the wine cellar, because it was like a refrigerator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Smart.
the next day, my fiance's family, who flew in from New York, and my family came over, and so we just like got to have like a second round of the food, which was amazing and delicious and really fun. So, but yeah, food is really important in our family. It's part of like our culture. It's like we come together and like, sit around at the table, and so it was a really important thing for us. Yeah.
It's like a Long Island, New York wedding. Like my dad's side of the family is from Long Island, and their cocktail hours are a full-on wedding in terms of food, and it's just the best. Like, I look forward to a Long Island wedding.
I went to a Long Island wedding with Jesse, and there was like lobster and like shrimp cocktail.
Oh yeah.
I'd never seen. I'm like, what are they doing here? How are we supposed to eat a meal after? I was so stuffed because there was like a sushi thing, then there was like a mashed potato station, and it wasn't even the main. I was confused, and then there was like a 4-course. It was very confusing.
That's a good wedding tip though, because like honestly at that point the food is like an activity, like something to do. Like you almost don't need like all the other little weird like bells and whistles, like a photo booth and stuff, if like people are occupied with like food and food stations. So yeah.
Did you have a photo booth?
Yes, we did. And that's a controversial thing, because people are like, should I do one, should I not? We loved ours. My biggest tip with a photo booth would be make sure it's in an area, like venue flow is so important. That's one of my biggest takeaways. Make sure your photo booth is in an area where people are going to use it and pass by it. Make sure your guest book, we did this really cool phone voicemail guest book after the tone, which has since gone viral. Like brides are like loving it, where people pick up this like vintage phone, leave you a fun voicemail. I loved it. But like not everybody could see it, so not everybody did it. And so those things like venue flow, making sure like the things you do put in place are all there. Even just like the bars, like the way our venue was set up, the bars were kind of like right outside of the reception, like right outside, but still, and the outside was so gorgeous on this gorgeous balcony looking over the whole Annapolis Marina, gorgeous day, sunset, everything. So people kept like wanting to be outside, the bars, like enjoying the patio. There were these amazing like fire pits outside. People were like, and I was like, no, get on the dance floor. So flow of the venue is just so important.
So important.
Yeah,
we ended up doing, and this is also my dad's input, we ended up doing a glam photo booth, like the Kardashian one, where everyone looks like really blown out and cute. Like we did that.
Yes, do that. Your guests will appreciate. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah,
did you do black and white? Doing.
And then we did black and white and color, you could choose. And then my dad had been to a wedding, I think like a week and a half before our engagement party. And he was like, Kelly, he like texted me, I found this company we need to work with. And it was the circle photo booth, where it's like the photo video GIF thing, where like you're standing on the stage. What are those called? Like the 3D booth?
The 360.
So we also had the 360. So we also had the 360 booth. And but I vetoed I was not into the props. The only prop that I allowed was the money gun, because I thought that was, was hysterical.
Yeah.
So honestly, the money gun and the confetti was the only thing.
I love that. The 360 photo booths, that was at my friend Brooke's wedding, the destination one. They're so much fun. And I feel like the older people too just like get such a kick out of them, like the dads.
And there were so many cool ones of like my dad's friends smoking cigars in slow motion and like I don't know, they like really loved it. I was surprised to see how many of my dad's friends and like, you know, my older cousins, like they were into it. So I'm a big fan of 360.
Same. And it's just fun to look back on for the couple, to just like look at the moments that you missed and laugh at your guests doing it.
So now you have your whole list of things, and you obviously personally give tips all the time on your IG, right? Like I feel like now you've become this self-proclaimed wedding expert, but you are an expert because you've been talking about it for forever, right? Now it feels like.
Yeah, sure.
Let me ask you, what is a trend that you are like over, that you are excited to say goodbye to?
Ooh. I feel like doing all like neutrals and all white. And listen, if you do that for your wedding, and many people still do, and it's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, if done right, I think you have to like have a lot of like if it really makes like a impact and it's like all white, it's gorgeous. But I feel like we went through this stage where like we were all just doing like neutral colors, and I just want to see more color in 2023, you know? So that's one. I did a neon sign, and I swear they were so big, but right now neon signs feel so chuggy to me. Like, I'm sorry, that's against myself too. Like, I don't, whatever, come for me, I don't care.
Is it in your
I
house now?
have it literally packaged up in this junk room of my husband's little office. So yeah, and I kind of want to hang it like on the wall. Like, it's fine in our house. It says our initials.
What did it say?
Oh, okay. It's N&M because because I didn't technically take my husband's last name yet. I'm like I don't know. It's a whole thing, but
I'm not doing
just N&M. You're not? See, that's when you're a working woman, you've established yourself. It's like it's annoying.
And I have an alliteration, Kelly Khalil. Like, I just love it.
Yeah.
It's my brand. I don't need to change it.
Yeah,
you know?
Your name sounds amazing. Same with mine. Pellegrino is so like memorable. I'm not
so chic.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
no, I think Freeze is cute too. So no hate to Mike, but you know.
Right, exactly. And the kids can be Freeze. Louie, our dog, who's been barking in the background of this entire episode, is Louie Freeze, who I'm gonna use that name sternly and scream at him after this. But yeah, no, I mean, that's a whole thing too. We don't have to take their last names. It's becoming very common to not.
For sure. So what's next? Like, are you guys like on like the baby train? Is that like the most annoying question to ask? Are people harassing you about that? Can like what's in your
Honestly, no, because you ask it in such like a fun way. I love it. Yes. Okay. So that's definitely everybody asks all the time. I feel like that's like always the next question after getting married. I'm very open about it. Like, we've always wanted kids. That's never been a question. That's something like for anybody dating out there, like align on that right away, obviously. But before the wedding, please. Yeah. But yeah, so we want kids. I want 3. I'm one of 3. I'm like, I want 3 kids minimum. I want to make an army of children. But I mean, I just turned 30. Like, people from home that's the thing. Well, everybody's like, you have time. Like, and I live in the New York City area, so it's like we start later up here. I'm in no huge rush, but I don't know. I could see us really hardcore planning soon, but we're not gonna like stress about anything, you know? So yeah, we'll see.
I love that. Amazing.
But I do have time.
Nicole, I feel like we could chat forever because yeah,
we really could. I mean, I love any excuse
because we could go deep, to chat weddings, and we didn't really even get to chat much about the whole like Betches and all the memes that you put out and the hysterical videos that you create, which we could do a part 2 for sure.
Yeah,
but I love this conversation, and I want to link in the notes. We'll definitely link obviously to your account. But also, you have to share your Real Wedding album with us so we can post it and people can go gaga over it if you want to.
I would love to. My wedding album, or like I'm trying to think where they are, like my Instagram, but whatever, we'll figure it out. But
we'll post it on. We have galleries on Loverly, so you'll send the album. We'll hook it up and all your vendors.
Yes.
People can
yes, that's right. I'm gonna do a little thing with Carly. Okay, cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and we'll be chatting more soon.
Yes, and I will be stalking for the day when you start planning your wedding, and when you do, and when it actually happens. A, I want an invite. I'm just going to be that rude person. And B, I just can't wait because it's going to be so amazing.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode. If you've enjoyed this podcast and want more inspiration and guidance, check out our new and improved wedding planning platform at loverly.com, where we offer free wedding planning tools and advice to get you hitched without a hitch. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Loverly. Happy planning!